What's up, everybody? Welcome to Philly with John Marks. We're live on a Wednesday morning, freezing cold. -2 when I woke up this morning at 5 after 4. And I took a picture to remember it. It's damn cold out there. Hope everybody's staying warm. But good morning to everybody. Philly with John Marks is always presented by Bet Parks and Central City Toyota. Well, on Wednesdays, it's not actually Philly with John Marks. It's the Black Gritty Show with John Marks. As Black Gritty, it seems like these last couple Wednesdays he's been on the show, and he joins us live from Black Gritty Studios. Black Gritty?
That's right. It's Gritty and Marks in the morning. And don't worry, America. I'm going to take care of all your worries and problems this week. I found this stuff, and it's targeted relief. And you see, you rub it on the knee there, and we can help Jalen Hurts out. You know what I mean? It's back aches, joint arthritis, pain, sprains. It's new. So, you know what I mean? It's targeted pain therapy. Maybe we could throw it on Jalen Hurts' knee and get him out there.
Is that because you have a little bit of a tight shot? So that's Advil, but it's like icy hot or something. So you don't.
Yeah,
so
it
I
looks
would
like
drink it.
Yeah, it looks like icy hot. Like it's like actually I should open it because I can't just run up to Jalen and throw a box at him, right? I should know what's going on.
Yes, because that looks like NyQuil to me, and I'd probably take it.
So yeah, it's like a cream applicator thing. You just stick it on there and you rub it on. It's got a little applicator thing on the top. So that way, you know what I mean? You got a problem with your elbow, got a problem with your knee, just rub it on there. It's going to take away the pain. That's Jalen going to be all right. Pain relief cream, external use only. I mean, I can't. Targeted therapy relief. I don't know. I'm saving the city.
Well,
I'm saving the city.
He definitely is going to need some targeted therapy. Of course, the Eagles aren't saying much about the injury. The point spread remains at six points. So the Eagles are favored. If the sharpest people in the world are the people that when it comes to sports, are the people that have, and they're wrong sometimes, but they're not wrong with their information. They know whether or not a player is going to play. They know whether or not a player is going to be extremely limited. And obviously the word right now is that Jalen Hurts, he obviously has something going on with the knee, but it's not considered significant. Otherwise, I don't know how they're 6-point favorites. But Black Gritty, I mean, so I'm like you, right? I get off the air. You're up. You're messaging me. I see you on social media, and you're watching all these knuckleheads out there on these fugazi shows, and you think the Eagles are 4-13, not in the playoffs, didn't just beat the Rams, didn't just beat the Packers by double digits. It's the Eagles, Jalen Hurts can't throw. This offense can't win a Super Bowl. They're not going to be able to win like this with Jalen Hurts being the quarterback. And listen, I get it. It's an easy side to take, and it's an easy opinion to have, and it gets you through the week. But reality is this team's favored by 6 points. They're going to beat Washington on Sunday, and they're going to be in another Super Bowl. I've been hearing they're going to be upset since the playoffs started. Oh, well, Jalen Hurts hasn't played. He's been injured. Oh, this is the biggest chance for an upset this weekend is the Packers beating the Eagles. Eagles win by double digits. Oh, the Rams, they're hot. Sean McVay. Oh, Jalen Hurts. They beat the Rams, right? So now what's it going to be this week? Jayden Daniels. Oh, young dynamic. Oh, going to go to the Super Bowl as a rookie. Then when the Eagles beat them, what are they going to be saying in the Super Bowl? It's driving me nuts, Black Gritty. Driving me nuts.
And that's why they do it. They don't have the Cowboys. Honestly, all these other teams except for Bills Mafia don't have the social media platforms that the Eagles have. The Eagles are moving the needle, and it's just amazing that they move the goalpost every single week. All I heard last week was better coach, better quarterback, better coach, better quarterback. Well, they both lost. And then when they say, well, they lost because of this and that, it doesn't matter, because when they talk about Josh Allen, even our own fan base, Josh Allen gets praised as he didn't turn the ball over. He did just enough. I know it was only 128 yards, but sometimes you just have to hold on, trust your defense, and win the game. Look at Lamar. He overdid it, and he just couldn't handle. So I'm like, well, Jalen did the same thing. But it's, Saquon carried him. I was like, okay, I just don't understand. Actually, I do. One of the greatest parades in the history of parades, one of the greatest speeches in the history of things, he says, nobody likes us. And it's true. Nobody likes us because when we don't like them, they get views and clicks. And my goodness, are they getting us riled up, because it seems impossible. We win the Super Bowl, you know what's going to happen? Well, Saquon deserved it, and the young defense is amazing. They're still going to trash Sirianni, and they're going to trash Jalen Hurts. I can see it coming.
Me too.
From a mile away.
But like if they win the way they've been winning, which some would call it ugly, and listen, Black Gritty, I'm not going to sit here and tell you that I'm satisfied with the way that Jalen Hurts has been playing the quarterback position, because I'm not. They're winning games, and I mean, and this is I believe this to be 100% true. He is game managing with a purpose. And he's not trying to make mistakes. He's not throwing the ball and putting it in danger's way. I also think that he's regressed as a throwing quarterback. But right now, it's not. This isn't about Jalen Hurts. This is about the Eagles. And the Eagles have proved all year that this is a formula that they can win with. And then they have a home NFC Championship game where they're favored by 6 points, and it's still. And obviously, like I see somebody on the chat line saying it's not everybody. Well, you have to have a balance to all these stupid talk shows. So you have a majority of the people yelling and screaming, Jalen Hurts, he can't play. And then you're going to have reasonable people that are going to play the other side. And then you have Dan Orlovsky, who doesn't know what the hell he believes. And he's flip-flopping. Jalen Hurts is the greatest. Jalen Hurts can't play. Jalen Hurts this, Jalen Hurts that. But at least Chris Sims, Black Gritty, has remained consistent. And consistently a Jalen Hurts hater.
It's one of the most beautiful things where, like, when you go to sleep at night and you want like bulletin board material, like everybody should just have Chris Sims like painted on their ceilings. When they close their eyes, it's the last thing they see, the first thing they see in the morning. Because my goodness, this man is stupid.
He is, and I was saying this to Tyler before the show that, like, if Nick Sirianni has 3 brain cells, he there's so much Baltimore material to put out there. Even if it's not really the majority of people, even if it's just the hot takers, and it like you had said, man, like it sells. Crapping on Jalen Hurts sells right now. Man, use this as motivation. Who was it that the entire panel picked the Rams to win the game last week? I just saw a graphic on TV. It was one, I don't know if it was a bunch of writers or was whatever, but it was like, it wasn't, Joe Schmo and his buddies doing a podcast. It was everybody picked the Rams to win the game. And so let's do this. Let's play Chris Sims. I know you're a big fan of Up and Adams with Kay Adams.
Yes.
Where she's drinking her coffee like,
well, she's been on a mission this last 2 months to find out why everybody hates Philadelphia. She asked all the guests, she asked Gronk, why does no one give Philadelphia credit? And Gronk's like, they just don't like the coach and they don't like the city. And she was like, well, okay, thanks for the answer. Like, Gronk at least gave a good answer, because everybody else was like, oh, nobody has a problem. She's like, well,
yes,
you just talked about how good the team was, and then you're not picking them against Green Bay. She's like, so what am I missing? You just talked about how good the team is, and you're not going to pick them. He's like, well, she's catching people left and right asking about the Eagles, and I love it.
Doesn't every football fan claim to want good defense and running the football and things like that? Isn't this the Philadelphia's dream of a team? Run the ball and play defense.
Dudes were outside with trash cans and signs saying run the ball. And now they were running the ball. They're mad at Jalen Hurts, who also ran for a 44-yard touchdown. Like, I make it make sense. That's what I'm saying about even our own people. Like, I really, at this point, I just want a George W. I want the win. And if it's by 1 point or by 50, I could be frustrated, but I'm just still happy. And when you look around the rest of the league, every quarterback that didn't turn the ball over won. Every quarterback that did turn the ball over lost. So the numbers are very similar. Patrick Mahomes only had 190, and he got gifted by the refs on half of those yards because his drive should have ended. So, I mean, can I just be happy, baby?
And he's got it. And the Chiefs have a great defense. It's what carried them last year to a Super Bowl. Similar to the Eagles. All right, so this is our old buddy Chris Sims. Listen to how much of an idiot he sounds. I mean, seriously, if I watched this back and I was Chris Sims, I'd be like, can you delete that tweet? Can you take that down? I sound like a horse's ass. Here's Chris Sims with Kay Adams.
Let's say it was 130 plays. The Rams definitely won the majority of those plays. If it's not for 2 strips by the Eagles defense and basically the 3 long touchdown runs, I would say you take away those 5-6 plays there, the Rams football team won the majority of the plays on the field in the game that day. That shouldn't be. The Eagles didn't play their best ball, and they got to find ways to throw the ball a little bit better.
Oh, so there you go. Oh, it's about throwing the ball. So Black Ready, 5 or 6 plays. If you take the 5 or 6 explosive plays that they scored and the turnovers that they created, by the way, right? If you take them away, the Rams probably win the game. Your thoughts?
So I'm doing the math here on my little paper. So if I just took away breakfast, lunch, and dinner, I'd probably be a lot thinner. I mean, there's something going on. The correlation. He's absolutely right. Like if I just stop, I mean, I mean, the pasta's my problem. So if I just cut out, of course, you idiot, if you take away all the good plays, like, is he going to the Micah Parsons School of Football? When Micah said it, at least he's a player crying in the locker room because he was upset. And he was, after the game, like your emotions are all going crazy. Like when Micah says, well, if you take away their big plays, we're still down 20, but it was closer. When an adult analyst who was trash at the game, who couldn't even handle XY's jet right Z, like he's so bad, I have that play call in my mind. That clip is burned in my brain. I could call that play that he couldn't handle. So, I mean, dude, you're a moron, and you're on national TV. You've got this job because of your father. Talk about nepotism. My goodness gracious. If you take away all the good plays,
yes,
the Rams win.
And by the way, I don't believe that the Rams had them. Like, he's making it out to believe that there was 130 plays. The Rams had 100 of the best plays, and the Eagles only had 30. Like BS. What game is he watching? Seriously, what game is he watching? I think the Rams are a good team. Sean McVay's an excellent coach. What freaking game is he watching? The second half was played in a blizzard. You can't even take anything from the second half. I mean, Jesus Christ.
And that's how you can do every football game. If A.J. Brown catches that ball, it's a guaranteed stone cold touchdown. If Lane Johnson doesn't false start, tush push, guaranteed touchdown. If Becton doesn't get called downfield, Dallas Goedert catches the ball inside the 4-yard line. You get the Eagles inside the 5, I can guarantee you tush push touchdowns. I don't care what the weather is. I don't care what the situation is. That's 18 points right there, because I can't guarantee Jake Elliott make an extra point right now. But I can guarantee you 18 more points, and those are unequivocated to the Rams' play calling or their line. So you could have had 18 more points right there because we were walking them up and down the field, and we got penalties, and we shot ourselves in the foot. So that's how you want to play the game? Then give me 18 more points, Chris Sims. I want them.
At least he's consistent. And so what is Chris Sims's deal? Tyler and I were also talking about this before the show. And I think a lot of the analysts that are out there with Jalen Hurts, why they won't give him credit, they don't think he's very good. They don't think he's good throwing the football. They look at him, they look at the offense that they're running, and we'll talk about Kellen Moore coming up in a second. They look at the offense that they're running, and they're being like, this is a college Jalen Hurts offense because he's limited in what he can do in the passing game. And they may be right. But guess what, Black Gritty? It's effective. It's effective. And here's one thing about Jalen Hurts that Chris Sims can't take away. Maybe he's limited in the passing game. Maybe he's regressed as a passer. And if they lose, believe me, we're going to be focusing on all that, right? They lose before the Super Bowl. Or they lose in the Super Bowl. But if they need a drive, if it's the fourth quarter and they need points or they need a big drive, you name me an Eagles quarterback that you felt better about lining up behind center or in the shotgun, because I don't line up behind center anymore. But like the one thing with Jalen Hurts is I believe in a big spot, he's getting it done. And I care more about that than them having to polish up 350 passing yards so it makes them feel better about the type of passer he is. Because that's all it's about with these guys like Chris Sims.
So the fun thing, there's two general stats that just stick out in your mind. The Eagles with Jalen Hurts have won all 4 playoff games with under 150 yards passing. They've also won all 4 games when Jake Elliott misses a kick. So I don't know what you take from that, but that means that you can't have him doing what he did in the Super Bowl all the time. Because that's the thing that kills me too. When you talk about Jalen Hurts, it's like, well, he barely did anything against the 49ers because, the defense, he barely did anything. Then he gets to the Super Bowl and plays the game of his life, just like Nick Foles did. He stood there and he did everything 371 years, and he outplayed Patrick Mahomes. You can say that because the stats bear it out. He did. He did more on offense than the defense. The defense let us down that day. So no one brings up the fact that he did that. And when he says, I'll do whatever it takes to win, that's what he means. Because in that game, what it took to win was him going Superman. And he did that. He delivered. Sometimes he puts up a 7-minute run for a touchdown at the end of the game or a field goal or something. He does what's necessary, and he doesn't get enough credit for that. So, I mean, let him hate. Let him hate.
Tyler, what do you got?
Yeah, so by the way, we're talking about Chris Sims. You want to talk about his way more successful dad. Jalen Hurts is looking to become the first quarterback since Phil Simms to lose his Super Bowl debut and get back to the Super Bowl. You guys know how many quarterbacks have made that have been in between Phil Simms and what Jalen Hurts is looking to do? 19 different quarterbacks have lost their Super Bowl debut, including Donovan McNabb, and never gotten back. Joe Burrow's never been back. Donovan McNabb has never been back. Matt Hasselbeck has never been back. I'm trying to think of the guys that lost their opener. Those are just a couple that come to my mind just because of immediacy. But like, there is a ton of different quarterbacks, 19 of them, in fact, who have won their championship game for the first time, went to the Super Bowl and lost in their debut, who have not been back to the Super Bowl. Jalen Hurts would break that trend with a win on Sunday.
Wow, that's crazy. I'll have to go back and look at the quarterbacks that lost. That's interesting. He'd be the first. Well,
as soon as we get done the championship game, I'm tweeting at Chris Simms every single hour for the whole 2 weeks.
Let's face it, Chris Simms a hack. Yes. I give him credit just because he won't get off of it. So like at least he's staying strong to it, but he's a hack. By the way, this segment and the headlines brought to you by Glatt Hair Restoration. Yep, Glatt Hair Restoration. GlattMCTR.com is their website, or 610-980-4000. My hair is looking in particularly very good today.
Here you go, John. I'll just give you guys a quick rundown because I'm looking at the list now. We'll start backwards. Joe Burrow is the last one. Well, Jalen Hurts is the last one to do it. Joe Burrow before that. Before that, it was Jimmy Garoppolo. Before that, Jared Goff. Before that, Matt Ryan. Before that, it was Cam Newton. Before that, it was Colin Kaepernick. Before that, it was, I think then you're starting to go backwards a little bit, to get into the mid 2000s. But the point is, it's a lot of quarterbacks who have had that situation in front of them. Jalen Hurts has a chance to kind of buck that trend a little bit. And
the moral of that is, and it's so true, is that you always think you're going to get back to the Super Bowl, right? Like, oh, well, we might have lost, but we'll be back. Look at how many quarterbacks didn't get back. All of them. Yeah. All of them.
And in the chat, somebody said, no coach quarterback duo because of the 49ers. They went back with a different quarterback when they got back to go do it. So, I mean, let's handle business this Sunday so that we can talk that talk, walk that walk.
Yes, because I am not being like, I saw Seth Joyner put himself out there and saying there's no way that the Eagles are going to lose this game. All right, listen, Washington's a good team. You got to come out. You got to play your A game, man. They got to play their best game in the playoffs if they're going to win on Sunday. Well, so a lot to talk about here on the show today as well. Kellen Moore could be going to the Cowboys as head coach, or their current offensive coordinator, Brian Schottenheimer. We have somebody down on the radio station down there went crazy over the fact this could be the move that they make. But just quickly on Kellen Moore, and I've seen a lot of this. I mean, I'm not telling you Kellen Moore's Sean McVay. I'm not telling you that he's this great innovator, offensive innovator. If Kellen Moore doesn't get the Dallas job, I'll be very happy. I want him back next year. Are there really people that are wishing he goes to Dallas because you want a different offensive coordinator in here? I mean, the Eagles are one win away from going to the Super Bowl, and they haven't tried to force the pass. And they're using Saquon Barkley. Again, like, I'm not giving Kellen Moore. I don't give him an A+. Kellen Moore can be my offensive coordinator next year and the year after that and the year after that. I'm totally fine with Kellen Moore.
I want consistency, and I appreciate the fact that Kellen Moore bent the knee, because the biggest thing was, why do you go get Saquon Barkley and then Kellen Moore, because Kellen Moore's not going to run the ball? Well, look at what happened. So I really can't be that upset. Like I said, we're winning. There's certain things where I'm like, oh, man, this is terrible. But again, AJ's knee's a little banged up. He's in and out of practice. Like, there's other things the Eagles don't talk about that people just magically forget, that he's working magic and they're winning the games. And again, if they told Jalen Hurts, hey, trust the defense, if you even sniff that it's going to be a turnover, you eat it. And that's what he's doing. That's what I believe. That's what I see. And it's keeping us in the winning column. So I'm Kellen Moore, you got a job here. If you leave, I won't cry about it. But right now, I'm not trying to run you out of town.
Hell no. Eagles are 14-3. They're in the NFC Championship game at home. And a dummy like Chris Simms won but there's A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith. Wait till they lose and then say that. Like, come on. This has been a successful formula. It drives me nuts. I'm at a point where, like, my head's going to explode because they're going to do the same thing in the Super Bowl. That's going to be the week of the Super Bowl. Jalen Hurts sucks.
AJ, you dropped 2 balls. Smitty, you dropped 2 balls.
Yeah.
I mean, come on. Like, it happens. But, I mean, so that's why it's like the reading the book thing is like, it's taking a shot at Jalen. Bro, he's doing everything in his power to have some inner peace. Because if you know anything about that guy, he's really emotional. He's a very emotional human being. So I don't have any problem with what he's doing on the sidelines because it's part of the game. He's not out there fighting with a net on the sidelines or going crazy. Tom Brady's just passionate. Tom Brady is chewing out coaches, people's moms on the phone. He's like, call your mom right now and tell her you didn't catch the ball. Like, but somebody says something about the passing game. It's like there's turmoil and they hate it. It's just so much. But
let them lose,
what we do.
And let them lose, and there'll be plenty of that from me as well. Let them lose.
Yep, that's when we get the pitchforks out.
And they just sharpen them up, but they're not losing. Anyway, so coming up, listen, this guy on 105.3 The Fan. Could you imagine being a Cowboy fan right now, and you're staring down the barrel of Kellen Moore or Brian Schottenheimer as the head coach?
That's so sad.
But it's great. And I actually, I officially feel bad for Cowboys fans. Not these rats that live in Philadelphia or around the country, actual Cowboys fans. I've reached the point of feeling bad for them because they know their destiny. They know it. They know it. We'll play you that audio and video coming up. Also, the 76ers played last night. Oh, yeah, in Denver. How do you think that game went? Tyler has an update on that. Major League Baseball, the Hall of Fame was announced. Jimmy Rollins not even sniffing it. We'll talk about all that coming up. Philly, John Marks back in 2-2 with Chuck Woolery. What's up, everybody? Glad hair restoration. Listen, check it out, fellas. If you are bald, like, listen, if you're black gritty, I'm not going to tell you to call Glad hair restoration. But listen, he could look like Big Worm from Friday. I could get him going with a nice head of lettuce that he would have. But in all seriousness, if you're suffering from hair loss and you have maybe tried some things that you found online, like I know Instagram, if you get it in that algorithm, that's all you see are these ads. But have you ever met anybody that actually says, like, these things really work? Because I haven't. I haven't. I haven't seen any comments that anybody says this actually works. Glad hair restoration works. Experts in the industry. Not trying to sell you some crap online. And we're talking about all stages of hair loss. And they have a lot of different things. Like, I had a hair restoration procedure. You can see the results. But maybe you're not to that point. Maybe you're like, well, I'm just starting to thin. I'm starting to shed. Not liking it. Maybe your wife or your mom or a female in your life is starting to lose their hair, or because of menopause or postpartum. That's who should be calling Glad Hair Restoration. All these people. Non-invasive treatments. Vitamin supplementation right now, which is really, really big. This works. PRP and stem cell restoration, which I've been having done for years, and hair restoration surgery. Each patient's receiving a complimentary one-on-one consultation to pinpoint the best course of treatment. And they're an advocate for you. They're working with you from the first phone call you make to 610-980-4000 until your last follow-up visit. They know that they're there for you. And Glad Hair Restoration by Morgan Stern Medical is the leader in the industry, not just in Philadelphia, but in the entire country. GlatHairMCTR.com. GLAT Hair MCTR.com. Or once again, 610-980-4000, or reach out to me on social media, John Marks Media. Slide into my DMs, and I can answer any questions and even hand you off to my friends over at Glad Hair Restoration. Shady Tyler.
Yes.
And I call him Shady Tyler because he's the point man for Shady Rays, I believe.
Yeah, am I doing something wrong? Do you need to watch out for me? Am I shady in that way? What am I funny like a clown?
You amuse me. Yes.
Yeah, let me tell you about Shady Rays because, listen, the sunglasses are excellent, and I could tell you all day about how great Shady Rays sunglasses are. But one of the things that it is time for now, it's skiing season, it's snowboarding season, it's tubing season, it's being out at Lincoln Financial Field season for an NFC Championship game. And if you need a pair of ski goggles, Shady Rays also has you covered. Crystal clear optics, incredible frames, and durability that will last longer than just the winter season and into the summer months. Well, you may not want to wear your ski goggles in the summer months, but in terms of the weather now, you may need some ski goggles because it's like 3 degrees out. you can get them at Shady Rays. And the best thing about Shady Rays is they have one of the best replacement guarantees in all of eyewear. If you break your pair, you get them lost, you get them stolen, whatever the case may be, Shady Rays will back you 100% with a brand new pair. And if you buy online and you don't love what you see or you don't love what you get when they get to your door, you've got up to 30 days to return or exchange them worry-free. No questions asked. Shady Rays will just give you a different pair, or they'll take the pair back that you bought originally. So don't worry about your commitment to the bit if you're not in love with the pair that you get. Head on over to ShadyRays.com right now and use the promo code PHLY. You will get 35% off a pair of polarized sunglasses or a pair of polarized ski goggles as well. And try for yourself the pair of sunglasses and ski goggles that have been rated 5 stars by over 300,000 people, myself included.
Thank you, Tyler. And I apologize. I need a way to turn my mic off or something in here, like a cough button, because I opened up the energy drink and it made a huge pop. I mean, I'm sorry, Black Grady. What do you got?
So what I need to do, I need to go see Dr. Guy. It's like 2 degrees this week. If I had some hair, I'd be warmer. And I might have to. I might have to.
That is not from Glad Hair Restoration. That is not from Glad Hair.
I'm just saying it's cold outside, baby. I might need a little big worm perm on this thing. You know what I'm saying? It's cold out here.
By the way, I subscribe to PHLY Daily. Just go to allphly.com. Rich Hoffman Jr. gets it out there every morning. It's amazing. It's your Philadelphia sports page, which I look at. It comes out about 7:30 every morning, so I always take a look. He spends a lot of time doing this as well with everything that goes on in Philly sports and beyond. And we'll go to Tyler for the 76ers recap here. But man, it is, and this is like one thing, Black Grady, that I have promised myself that I'm going to do for here on out is like, there's going to be no more fake radio or fake this or fake that. It's going to be real. And for the most part, I've always done that. But having to like do a job where it's like, all right, to make this work, I got to kind of take an opinion that's contrary to what I really even care about. Because honestly, I don't care about a lot of this crap, right?
It's 2 sides of the coin. Somebody's got to have the other side
Right.
of the conversation and have the conversation.
When you do talk radio, it's a necessary evil to what you're going to do. And I don't necessarily want to do that anymore. I just want to keep it real. And keeping it real, I didn't watch a friggin' drop of that 76ers game last night. Not one solitary friggin' second of it. Because I knew what was going to happen. And Tyler Zulli, we're going to come to you with the 76ers recap because there was no Joel Embiid, which we knew, but they got smoked by the Nuggets. And by the way, before we get to that, Joel Embiid shouldn't play another game this year. Shut him the freak down. But first of all, they should trade him. That's for another day. But shut him down, get the high draft pick, lose as many games as possible because you have a protected pick, a top 7 protected pick. All right, enough of this. This team's not winning anything. Daryl Morey's not going to get fired. Nick Nurse isn't going to get fired. Just shut it down. They look like they're shutting it down right now, too. They certainly do. But, Tyler, what do we got?
Yeah, you guys like defense? Because there wasn't any in this game, at least for the Sixers standpoint. They lose 144-109 to the Denver Nuggets yesterday. And the funny thing is, too, guys, they dropped 40 in the second quarter. The Sixers did. And lost the quarter 42-40. They gave up 35 in the first, 42 in the second, 40 in the third. Tyrese Maxey was the leading scorer for the Sixers. He had 28, a couple different guys in double figures. Gershon Yabusele with 22. But 4 different Nuggets ended up with 20, or 3 different Nuggets ended up with 20 or more. 5 different Nuggets ended up with 19 or more in this one, including Aaron Gordon and Michael Porter. As a team, the Denver Nuggets shot 61.2% from the field, including 16 of 31 from beyond the arc.
It's unbelievable.
No defense played in this one whatsoever. Sixers out-rebounded 51-25 is what has become a trend for them. They are one of the worst rebounding teams in the NBA, especially without Joel Embiid in the mix. But they have become one of the worst rebounding teams in the league. Just a really bad performance yesterday.
So one quick note on the Nuggets. Russell Westbrook, who people were being disrespectful to him for a number of years. What this guy accomplished in the NBA was nothing short of unbelievable. And yeah, like the winning wasn't there. This he's turned his career back around with what he's doing in Denver. He might win the freaking title he probably deserves because he's not selfish. He's out there doing everything. And I've always loved Russell Westbrook. I'm glad to see that it didn't end like it ended for Melo and some other players that were great players that never were able to do anything again. So I'm happy to see it for Russell.
Russell Westbrook is the Philadelphia of NBA players. Goes hard, plays hard all the time, all heart, all guts. He keeps talking about keeping it real. He is himself unequivocally all the time. Wears his heart on his sleeve, takes care of his community, takes care of his family. I mean, my goodness, what more could you want? But he's stat padding, the whole league stat padding. And he gets thrown to wayside while KD goes and joins the super team and gets carried to championships. And KD's some killer. You weren't a killer. You killed this man's legacy in his career. So you're right. We're not winning it. Let Westbrook go get a ring so he can go down and have something for himself, because he's been a solid individual and a solid man and a great basketball player who gets thrown under the bus way too much.
So, Tyler, last night, and this is courtesy of our sister network in Denver, right?
Yes, correct.
Embiid's not playing, and they were the Nuggets fans were enjoying it. Here's how it sounded last night in Denver. Well, where is Embiid at? Well, he wasn't there. So, Black Gritty, the last time Joel Embiid played in Denver, Tom Brady was the Patriots quarterback. Todd Gurley was still on the Rams. Bradley Beal was averaging 30 points per game. Tiger King and The Last Dance weren't even out yet. And Great Britain was still a part of the European Union. That last part's lost on me. And that's from Underdog Fantasy's Twitter account. So you're telling me he hasn't played in Denver in a long time, BG?
So for those who are watching, I don't know if you heard the audio because it didn't come through to me, but I know what they were saying. They were saying, where is Embiid? The whole stadium's asking, where's Embiid? It's one of the biggest duck jobs that people locally try to poo-poo. He ducks him there. Like, the elevation's high. He'll probably be winded and gassed. He can't keep up with Joker there, and that's why he doesn't play there. And then, like, that's so embarrassing. And now I like the fans are saying that. They should have been saying that years ago, because every year when he comes to Philly, Embiid would embarrass him. He would literally put on a show and embarrass him. And every single year when it was out there, he just wouldn't play him. And I think it actually cost him MVP. That second MVP that he should have had, that should have been Joel's, that's why I didn't give it to him. Dude, you're ducking this guy. You're not playing him at home. It's just embarrassing for you. And I mean, good on him. I want to make free Maxey t-shirts. Like, this whole operation, like, just shut everything down. Maxey has lost all his joy. He looks like a grizzled 10-year vet that just wants to retire early. He has no happiness, no joy, no fun. They're running him into the ground like Tibbs is his coach because they don't have anything else. It's just, I'm glad you didn't watch. It's embarrassing to watch. It's sad and disheartening to watch. And Paul George is just, what's the guy's name? The cookie crumble guy we just got rid of? What's the guy? The Piston. He's a Piston now.
Tobias Harris.
Oh, yeah. It's just Tobias Harris. I can't tell the difference between the two when they're playing basketball. I mean, they're both making $1 bajillion. Tobias 2.0 is right here in my face, and I've got to suffer with it for 4 more years. Way off P is just Tobias 2.0. Oh, clap your hands, everybody. Made for this. Hashtag made for this.
I see my guy Fit Dad CEO is out there watching this morning. Big fan. I would love to get you on with us some morning.
Hey. He was a guest on Gritty Nights last night. Don't try to steal my guest.
Well, yeah, I've seen him on here a couple times.
You were texting me. I had big time people like Fit Dad CEO on my show. You know what I'm saying? You can go watch it out, blackgritty.com. As a matter of fact, get yourself together.
I seen him on here when you're on a couple times commenting. So shout out, thank you for, and that's why it's the Black Gritty show with John Marks on Wednesdays.
That's right. Yeah, man.
But anyway, real quick. So I don't want. My head's gonna blow up with the 76ers. And I said this earlier in the season, and I meant it. I didn't mean it to be a dick. The Sixers fans and Joel Embiid fans, right? It's time to blow this up. Sorry, it is. You just talked about Tyrese Maxey. The Sixers aren't winning a friggin' championship. They bring in Paul George. Are you kidding me? They're not winning a championship. Look at the Nuggets team. Michael Porter Jr., Jokic, Russell Westbrook, Jamal Murray, Aaron Gordon. I mean, and then you have this, and then you have broken down Paul George. You have Joel Embiid with Flintstone feet. And you have Tyrese Maxey that deserves better than this.
McCain deserves better than this. McCain deserves better than this too. My only joy, and he went down. It's just so rough and it's so hard, and it hurts my heart because you wanted something. I said it last time, but like you wanted them to do something. Daryl Morey, like what did you do to the team? Brand, how does Brand still have a job? I want Brand's job. Can I get that job at the Sixers? I just go around and shake hands and kiss babies.
It's cozy, man. That's a cozy job. It's a very cozy job. All right, so people in Dallas, Black Rudy, for the first time ever, I actually feel bad for Cowboys fans in Dallas, not the rats in Philadelphia, or if you're a Cowboy fan in wherever, right? Now, not the Fugazi Cowboy fans, the actual people that live in the Fort Worth, Dallas area. I actually feel bad for them at this point because for people that thought they were hiring Dion or they were doing this or they're doing that. They ain't doing any of that. Jerry Jones is as cheap as any owner in the NFL, and he's just printing money, blaming the salary cap. Oh, we can't sign them. We're up against the salary cap. We couldn't have paid Derrick Henry $6 million more guaranteed $1 million to get him here instead of Ezekiel Elliott. He's crying poor. They're crying salary cap poor. Meanwhile, Jeffrey Lurie's paying everybody $100 million. Who does Jeffrey Lurie not pay? Look at that offensive line. Look at their receivers. Look at Saquon Barkley. Look at the quarterback. I mean, Jesus Christ. They pay everybody. And they finally know it now in Dallas. The media is finally calling out Jerry Jones for being cheap. So his name's Zach Wolchuk. He's from 105.3 The Fan. And the current, it's been weird. They've been taking the future for the Cowboys, for the Cowboys coach, next coach, on and off the board at DraftKings. It's Kellen Moore. It was Dion, then they took it off the board as the favorite. Then it was Kellen Moore, then they took it off the board as the favorite. Their current offensive coordinator, Brian Schottenheimer, who they interviewed yesterday, he was up, then they took it down. It seems like it's going to be Kellen Moore, or a lot of people think it's going to be Brian Schottenheimer. Could you imagine if the Eagles sold us Brian Schottenheimer as the next coach of the team?
As much as like we, I'm trying to be so positive. As much as we say Howie has puppets and he picks puppets, Jerry Jones picks puppets. That's why it was never going to be Dion. Dion is too strong-willed. He has too many opinions, and he would do too much, and he would get too much credit. So it's got to be Schottenheimer, or it's got to be Moore. Kellen Moore has not interviewed well for head coaching jobs anywhere else.
That's why he doesn't have a job.
It's gonna come down to the point where it's like you said, first year, Eagles get to the Super Bowl. I mean, not for nothing, both of his coordinators had made it to the NFC Championship before the Cowboys in the last 30 years. And he let both of them walk out the door and kept McCarthy.
And hired somebody else.
At this point, I think futures, I'm putting my money on Kellen Moore.
So here's Zach Wolchuk of 105.3 The Fan yesterday venting about the Cowboys. Here it is.
Like a completely, utterly ridiculous potential hiring, and it makes it very, very difficult. It pretty much you're on the verge of like zero faith as a Cowboy fan. But unfortunately now, it's just depression. That's what it is being a Cowboy fan. It's utter depression and anger, and where the hell do I go from here? And a hire like this isn't getting your, even if it's Kellen Moore, maybe it's not shoddy, but this is an utterly crap hiring if that's what you're going to do. It's disgraceful, and it's a slap in the face to your fans. It's like you're doing a bit. Do you give a damn? The answer is no right now, you don't.
It's a bit.
Oh, it's a bit. That's strong.
Has turned it into a radio bit. He has.
That's strong.
He doesn't care about winning.
The thing that like got me to where I was like, wow, they didn't even want to interview Brian Johnson. Like, what? Okay. I mean, I got an OC. I'd have interviewed him too right now. Jeffrey Lord, like, yo, what's going on with you over there? You know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, he's one of the hottest commodities going. To not want to even talk to him and pick his brain, just see where his brain's at, so you can apply it to other head coach hiring potentials.
Yeah, and you're talking about Ben Johnson, right?
Ben Johnson. It's just criminal. It's a criminal activity not to do it. To sit down with this man and pick his brain to interview him. Even if you're not going to hire him, you just want to know what his philosophy is, what his mindset is, so you can apply it to the other people applying for your job. But when you're 99 years old and you own everything and you don't care about anything but acting, he had time to act, doesn't have time to interview people. So
this is a reality show bit that Jerry Jones is putting on right now. He plays out every contract like this with Dak, with CeeDee Lamb. He's going to do the same thing with Micah Parsons. He's going to make Micah Parsons wait, and then he's going to pay him $50 million or whatever a year. He does it with everybody. He did it with Ezekiel Elliott. It's unbelievable. It is so much fun to watch. And the great thing, he ain't going anywhere. Rich people live a long time. Yeah. And he's going to be 87 years old, looking like Al Davis, except probably a little better for 87. And he's going to be doing the same stuff he's doing right now. And these Cowboys fans and the poor people down there are going to be doing the same thing.
Did you watch him? He had a little spot in the show called Landman with Billy Bob Thornton. Did you get to see it?
No.
So I'll find a clip and send it to you. But long story short, he's playing himself. And he's talking to another oil man. And he's saying, the greatest start of my life was starting a business so I could bring my family in. So the people I go to work with are my children. When I see them at work, it's my family. You know, instead of going on your deathbed and having your boss man come in and it's Billy and Johnny, it's my children beside me. And that's what you want to have. And that's what he's doing. That is his reality show. He is going down with the ship with his family all around looking at him. He's like, look, you can run it however you want when I'm in the ground, but I'm still breathing. And it's the Jerry Jones show, Jerry Sias show. And it's just weird.
He's not going anywhere. All right, coming up, Hall of Famers announced last night. We'll give them to you. Jimmy Rollins, Chase Utley on the ballot. How close are they? That's coming up after this. It's Philly with John Marks. Back in 2-2. All right, here we go. Bet Parks, Pro Football Conference Championship games. Philadelphia remains 6-point favorites. Kansas City, it's up to 2, so it's a little bit of movement there. But that's what you got right now. We had talked about this earlier in the week, but you can right now in the Bet Parks app, you can go and you can get the futures for potential matchups with point spreads. So Philadelphia is favored against Buffalo in a potential Super Bowl, and they're underdogs against Kansas City. You can get all that right now on the Bet Parks app. The only app I would ever use, Bet Parks online casino and sportsbook app. It's amazing. How about your favorite casino games for real money? For real money. All right? Hot online slots. Real dealer. This is with a live dealer. Blackjack, craps, poker, roulette, and more. And new users that download the app get up to $1,000 casino bonus back if you're down in the first 24 hours. Your casino bonus must be wagered. BetParks.com for details. You must be 21 in PA, New Jersey, or Maryland for the BetParks app. Gambling problem? Yeah, do it. Call 1-800-GAMBLER. All right, let's discuss Ace. Because Ace is the place for fools like me that can't do anything for themselves. And it's actually something that in discussions with my wife, she's always bringing up the fact that I can't fix anything. And I'm like, you're right. But that's why Ace Hardware Home Services is who I need to call, right? AceHardwareHomeServices.com. So if you have a leaky pipe, if you have a heating issue, whatever it is, they have something for you at Ace Hardware Home Services. They're ready for the next job, right? Experienced local plumbers and techs that handle everything from repairs and seasonal maintenance to installations and upgrades. They have understanding. They listen to your goals, and the job isn't done until you're satisfied, all right? AceHardwareHomeServices.com. The power of the Ace brand, striving to be the best, most trusted provider of home preservation services. So we're talking about a wide range of residential maintenance, installation, and home repair services. Plumbing, heating, cooling, electrical, free estimates on equipment installation and replacement. Again, with trusted advisors and options that are best suited for you and your budget. And emergency services. It's no degrees out and your heater goes. What do you do? Man, you can't stay in that house. Ace Hardware Home Services. They'll get somebody out to you right away. Service you can trust. Satisfaction is guaranteed. They're going to make it right no matter what. AceHardwareHomeServices.com. Get your project started today. Hooah! We're back. That was closer to 2-2 than I normally do. Were you a Chuck Woolery fan and his game show? What was it called? I'm blanking right now. I always say it. Chuck Woolery. No, are you a game show fan, Black Gritty?
So I am a game show person because my grandmother.
Love Connection. Love Connection.
Love Connection. I know the shows. I don't know any of the hosts' names. I'm really bad with that. When I was I just don't know host names. And then when they start changing, but yes, Love Connection was a great show. Love Connection was a good show.
I know all that's what, like, as a young kid, I thought, well, I'm gonna have to do radio. I'm gonna be a game show host. But I loved all the game shows. See, I grew up in the game show era where there wasn't all these talk shows. You would get home from school or you didn't go to school and there's game shows on all day.
Have you ever been on a game show?
No, I'd be too scared to do it.
I was on when Drew was hosting Price is Right, and two things. First of all, they had Tasty Cakes on as the thing to guess the price, and oh, buddy, that was like one of the greatest moments.
Hold on a second. You got called down?
I was.
You were on the show, or you were in the studio audience?
I was in the studio audience, but I was one of the personal guests. I got on stage. I got to meet him. I actually got to go back to his house that night and hang out with him. Like, it's a whole to do. But I've lived a life. I got pictures to prove it too, so there's no question about me. You know what I mean? Doing
it. No,
but it was,
believe me, people don't realize how famous you are, Black Rudy.
Yeah, so it was just really cool because they knew her. Like, I was there with like my buddy, and they're like, "Oh, you guys from Philly?" So they got Tasty Cakes there, knowing we were going to be there. They put them on for them. I'm like, "How come I can't participate? I know the prize. I know the prize. I know how much these things cost." So it was a great time. But yeah,
no, I would never want to go. Like, Wheel of Fortune, I'd be the one that says something inappropriate or misses something so obvious. Right, you see all the time it goes viral. I would never actually want to be.
Your brain freaks out. Like that's the thing too, because even just being there in the studio, like you're just get so excited and it's hard. It really is hard. That's why you see people just like, how did they guess that? A jet ski for $22? Why would they say that? Because you're just nervous and you blurt the first thing that comes out in your head and you're like, of course a jet ski costs more than $22.
Actually, I was on a game show. The Philly Feud with Mike Missinelli is the host. I was on. And I played Win Missinelli's Money, and I beat him.
Oh,
back when I worked at the Fanatic. I was at Parks Casino, actually.
Did you get the money? Okay.
Well, there was no money, but I beat him. And he was so mad. Dude, he was so mad. He was mad at Jason Martinez because he claimed that I gave questions that I would know the answer to. And I beat him. No, he was so mad. Oh, it was great. It was I love Mike, but it was great, Mike. He was so pissed off because we did it. It was a video. God, and we're going back probably over 10 years, but close to 10 years. And we actually took a video. Now everybody does video of everything.
Yeah.
And you're actually going to be at Parks Casino tonight with your show.
I am. Cheap seats tonight. Yeah. 7-ish.
After Ant. So Ant's going to be there. And then Cheap Seats is going to be there. You, Ashworth, and E-Rock.
Yep. After Cousins Corner, we're going to be there throwing down some wagers on the birds.
All Black Rudy all the time. All right. How much do you get into the Hall of Fame stuff when it comes out at all?
So I try not to get angry because I know it's always when it's somebody who's from Philadelphia and how people get snubbed and stuff like that. I try to like just embrace it for what it is. But sometimes, like when you brought it up to me last night, I was like, okay, these guys are deserving. Who else is in there? Who's more deserving? So maybe start looking at like ranking like deserving, because I try to just be more realistic when it comes to that, but I'm a homer too when it comes, obviously. So
and it's like this with a lot of Hall of Fames, but it becomes the Hall of Very Good, which it just cheapens it for me. Like, for example, a guy like Jason Stark, who I respect to no ends, and I love Jason Stark, and guys like him, Ryan Spader's another guy that's out there, but they'll create these categories. It's like, well, if you look at these 10 categories, Scott Rowland's a top 7 player in all of these categories, and that's why he should be in the Hall of Fame. Scott Rowland is not a freaking Hall of Famer. Scott Rowland's a very good player. He's an all-star level player. Scott Rowland's not a Hall of Famer, right? You shouldn't have to think about it. So, Black Rudy, is Ichiro a Hall of Famer?
No.
Of course Ichiro's a Hall of Fame. No, Ichiro's a Hall of Famer. No doubt.
I'm just messing with you because you said the silent part out loud. I'm glad you said it because I was trying to be nice about. I know we're not on the radio, but I was trying to be nice about Rollins because you're absolutely right. But I don't want to say it because he's my guy. I don't want to. You're right. But
Jimmy
you're
Rollins
right.
is not a Hall of Famer. Chase Utley is not a Hall of Famer. Bobby Abreu is not a Hall of Famer. Sorry, Ichiro's a Hall of Famer. Is CeCe Sabathia a first ballot Hall of Famer? I don't know if he's a first ballot Hall of Famer. He's a Hall of Famer.
He's a Hall of Famer.
Billy Wagner, you look at his numbers. I mean, this is the 10th time he was on the ballot. Man, he was 38 years old. He had his final season pitching for the Braves. It was unbelievable, right? Look at his numbers, and it's like, all right. As much as I question closers, it's tough to keep him out. You need 75% of the vote, and 3 got in this year. So Ichiro Suzuki, only 1 person voted for him not to get in the Hall of Fame. 99.7%. CeCe Sabathia, Billy Wagner, 86 and 82% respectively, get in the Hall of Fame.
And Wagner is like in that certain situation that you see all the time where a guy's on the ballot year after year after year, and not for nothing, the voters are getting older and they're getting farther removed from actually remember seeing him play and seeing the impact he had on the game. And so it makes it worse. So I'm glad he's going to get in, because there's things like that happen too. Like with the NFL, they had the guy who, I'm sorry, I can't remember his name. He was basically on his deathbed, and the wife's sitting there with a bust, and everybody's crowded around him. They put the jacket on him in his bed, and his health deteriorated. So what? I'm like, he's been on the ballot for so long. If you were going to give it to him, just give it to him. You know what I mean? Because you're already, like you said, it's the Hall of pretty good anyway. You're already pigeonholing other people in there. You know what I mean? If the guy's been on the ballot for 10 years, there should be like a limit. 8 years in a row, hey, just throw him in there. Throw him a bone. I don't know. Well,
and it's why I don't really like. I don't get crazy over the Hall of Fame. It's just like when a guy like Scott Rowland gets in, and I have issues with Scott Rowland in general, but like he is not like to me he's not a Hall of Famer. That's the Hall of Very Good. Chase Utley was voted in 39.8% of ballots. You need 75. That's in his second year. It took Billy Wagner 10 years. Tyler, I don't know if you agree with this. Chase Utley certainly, it looks like, has a chance. Jimmy Rollins only 18% of the ballots in his 4th year.
Yeah, I think that Chase Utley is trending in the right direction for those that want to see Chase Utley get into the Hall of Fame. Now, I will say this. I think the conversation about the steroid era players will never, ever go away, but there are currently 2 players that are on the ballot still available that should be in the Hall of Fame, and that's it. Alex Rodriguez and Manny Ramirez. They are both Hall of Famers in my opinion. They won't get in because of the steroid era ties. It's the same thing. Bonds should have been a first ballot Hall of Famer. Right. Clemens should be in. If you're going to valid, that's a different conversation for a different day, right? They perpetuated the steroid era and then kind of turned their backs on these players when it was convenient for the league, right?
Right.
But
absolutely.
But that's a different conversation for a different day. I look at the rest of the list, and to me, Beltran probably gets in next year. I think he's at 70%. He probably gets to the 75 because the list next year of incoming guys, it's not a particularly strong group of first-year, first-ballot players. I think Andrew Jones, I'm on a personal crusade to get Andrew Jones into the Hall of Fame if I have any power. I think he eventually gets in too. He's at 66. I think he's going to get to that 75 threshold eventually. Everybody else on this list, I'm not so sure will get in, other than like Chase Utley's trending in the right direction as you brought up, but like I think your point is valid. If you have to think about it for longer than a couple of seconds, they're probably not Hall of Famers. Like Felix Hernandez had an unbelievable peak. Was he good enough for his career to be a Hall of Famer?
For the duration, probably not.
I don't know. Like there's a bunch of really, really good players on this list. Bunch of really, really good players on this list, but I don't know how many of them are genuinely Hall of Famers. Whereas if you say Ichiro Suzuki, you can't tell the story of baseball without Ichiro for a multitude of reasons, for statistical reasons, for cultural reasons, for all of that, right? Ichiro had a Hall of Fame Japanese career and then a Hall of Fame Major League career. Like without question, Hall of Famer. So that to me, like he should be at 100%.
But here's the stupid thing about it. So Chase Utley's the second year. So he becomes Hall of Fame worthy because you make him wait 5 or 6 more cycles, right? Like either you're a Hall of Famer or you're not. So why is he more Hall of Fame worthy in 5 years than he is this year?
I think it's dependent on who's on the ballot at the time.
Yeah, but there's only three people that are elected in this year. And it's either you're a Hall of Famer or not. I get it. You can only vote for a certain amount of players if you're a writer. Either Chase Utley's a Hall of Famer or he's not. And he shouldn't be a Hall of Famer in 5 years if he's not a Hall of Famer today.
And my biggest point about that, like even when I was joking about Ichiro, it's like, so when you know the name, right? Like they should take the name off of it. Put Utley's stats up there alone. Put Ron's stats up there alone. And you're going to be like, I don't think so. But when you say their name, it evokes emotion. When you say Ichiro, like you just know it. You feel, when you say Barry Bonds, you feel it. Like if you just put the pure stats up there, you're like, holy, okay. Ichiro, Bonds, like book them. Rollins, you're like, so it's just really, really weird. and I don't like the way baseball does it. Are they going to put Pete Rose up now? Because Pete's gone. Like it,
No.
You know what I mean?
Nor should they. But again, I'm finished with the Pete Rose Hall of Fame.
No, and guys, too, take a look at there's a list. Somebody put out a tweet, a list of notable 2026 first-time Hall of Fame candidates. I'm going to give you some of the names. Tell me if you even think they're remotely eligible for the Hall of Fame. It includes Edwin Encarnacion, Ryan Braun, Alex Gordon, Cole Hamels, Matt Kemp, Nick Markakis, Hunter Pence. This is not a particularly strong first-time ballot list. Now, in the coming years, you're going to get your Pujols. You're going to get a bunch of dudes who are like locks, just surefire locks. But this list in next year doesn't really do a whole lot for me. So the guys that are up in the higher thresholds, namely Beltran and Andrew Jones, I think are going to get in next year.
Yeah, I would agree with you. Yeah, next year they're Hall of Famers. This year they're not Hall of Famers. Make that up.
And that John, to answer your question, that's where the conversation of what makes them not this year versus next year. Sometimes it is a ballot sample size. And when you remove Billy Wagner and you remove Ichiro and you remove CC Sabathia because they're now in the Hall of Fame, that starts to get you closer to being Hall of Famers.
You don't have anybody else. So
yeah, but they don't have the voters don't have 3 votes. They can vote up to 10, right? Or is it?
And they don't have to vote if they don't want to.
Exactly. So it's not like that they're saying, well, I couldn't vote for Beltran this year. I couldn't vote for Chase Utley this year because I used up all my votes. They voted 3 people in. So next year they're going to vote for Chase Utley? It's never going to make sense to me. Larry Boa said the following on Twitter. He said, congrats to CC, Billy, and Ichiro. I'm still baffled by the percentage of votes J-Roll received. I've been in baseball for over 50 years. And Jimmy ranks right up there with all the shortstops in the Hall of Fame. I hope the voters take a better look at his resume. If he played 20 years before, he'd be a Hall of Famer. Ozzie Smith would have like a home run for the whole year and bat 230. But he was an amazing defensive player. And shortstops at the time, before you got steroids, it wasn't a power position. And then it became a power position with A-Rod and Tejada and some of these other guys. And it just changed the position. Jimmy Rollins is one of my favorite Phillies players ever. I love Jimmy Rollins. Love him, love him, love him. I think he's awesome, right? He's not a Hall of Famer. He never batted 300. Right? He's not a Hall of Famer. I'm sorry. He's not Chase Utley.
He's not, but like I said, if I feel it when you say it, I know it's true. But I feel it.
And now
my heart.
Now there's snot rolling, by the way. That's a whole nother issue. I hate him. All right, wrapping it. So, are they making the teams not hire coaches now, NFL coaches, or now it's just going to be like, are they waiting till after the championship games and then they'll announce some of the hires next week? And I'm not even talking about the Cowboys, but it seems like Aaron Glenn's going to the Jets, but there's still a number of jobs out there. I guess it's kind of like this, to where teams wait a while till after the Super Bowl so they can do the hirings of the coordinators and things like that.
They should wait till after the Super Bowl to do anything, because most of the pool you're pulling from are from playoff teams, and until they're eliminated, you shouldn't be allowed to talk to anybody. If you have to wait, you have to wait. I don't know what it is. Like, there's a mandated period where it's like, okay, nobody can interview anybody until the bye week of the Super Bowl or something, because I just don't like it. You know what I mean? Kellen Moore did a fine job. It was in the snow, but I just don't want to. I don't want to deal with that anymore. I don't like it. It bothers me, especially because I'm in the postseason all the time now. I don't want to deal with that. Our guys are getting poached all the time. I don't like it.
Yep. Yeah, the whole process sucks. I saw Fit Dad CEO had said that Kellen Moore better worry about calling plays the next 2 games. Yeah, he sure. But he also, he's up for head coaching jobs, right? Like, it sucks that he has to go through this process. By the way, if you're watching on TV, slide on over to allphly.com to watch the rest of the program. So there you go. All right, so what's your Black Gritty? A lot of people ask, when does Black Gritty sleep? Because you'll hear him on the radio at 2 p.m. or maybe 11 o'clock in the morning. You'll see him online at 3 o'clock in the morning. He'll be doing his podcast at 10 o'clock at night. He'll be doing this show tonight at 7 o'clock. What is your sleep schedule? Does it range day to day, or is it? It
does.
It does?
It does. Yeah, I usually on a good life cycle, I go to bed at 6:15 in the morning and I sleep till noon. Like that's the good life. Sleep, go to bed at 6, sleep till noon.
And you knowingly do this. You're not working a graveyard shift somewhere, right?
No, it's just I'm retired. I don't work, so I don't have to do anything. So I just live life. That's how I live it. Like last night, for instance, like for Dad, he was on my show last night. I went to bed around 11. I uploaded stuff, did all things. Then I got caught up watching the show Silo. I watched 5 episodes of it. Next thing I know, it's 5 in the morning. It's 4:55, and I'm like, I should probably take a nap because Johnny Marks is going to be calling me.
You were already messaging me.
o'clock.
I didn't realize you were taking a nap before. Yeah. I got up and I saw the messages at 4 something.
Yeah,
and I wasn't surprised. It's when I normally hear from you.
Yeah, so I slept from 4:45 until 7:30. That's why when you're like, did you get the thing? I was like, yeah, I'm going to roll on that bed right now. You know what I mean? That's why the Gritty Studios, I had the lights set up, had it nice and toasty in here. So like last night, and then what's going to happen is I'm going to hang out from you guys. I'm going to go make myself some pancakes, and I'm going to go take a nap from like 10 till 12, and then I'm going to go see a lovely lady this afternoon, and then I'm going to bed Parks, and that's my day. It's a gritty lifestyle. It's really good.
All right. There you go. All right. Well, people will be out tonight to see you at Parks. Anthony first, and then you guys coming up. Anthony, right now, by the way, it's a double dose of Anthony. What do they call it on the classic rock stations? It's a double shot Tuesday, Black Gritty.
Yeah.
So I actually all your favorite artists, like Bon Jovi.
Yeah, exactly right. The Stones.
It's a double disc.
Right.
So when's the last time you got in a car with like a CD player in it?
My mom still uses hers.
Okay.
Yeah.
What about a tape deck?
My 1996 Dodge Intrepid that I drove when I was 19 years old.
Yeah, one of my old cars.
I got my daughter's driving, and I got her a Corolla. And first car, I'm worried about her dinking and whatever. So it's like a 2004, 2005 Corolla.
Yeah.
And it's got a tape deck in it. And she's like, the best thing is when kids get in the car and they're like, what is that thing? Like, what does that do? Like, they don't know what a tape deck is, and they're seniors in high school, and I just crack up. So she keeps, like, one tape on standby because, she's using her phone, the Bluetooth and everything to play music anyway, but she just keeps an old NSYNC or New Kids on the Block tape that she pops in there, and she plays it for them. We got the right stuff. I'm like, that's awesome. It's really awesome.
You've seen the tapes I have at home, haven't you? Have you seen me put them out? I have Gangstar, I have Public Enemy. Yeah. I have a bunch of old rap tapes that I still have.
Yeah. You were certified. You know what I mean? I know you were in that the Toyota RAV4, but you certified. You had them tapes on you. You was bumping in that day. You know what I mean? You was bumping.
My first car, I said, was the 96 Intrepid. I got a tape with a little like USB attachment to it. So you'd put the tape player in, and then you would turn the radio station to like, static. It'd be like 90, 91, whatever the lowest frequency was. You turn it to static, and then you plug your iPod in or your phone in or whatever. And that's how I played my music, but with a tape deck. It was wild.
The technology. Now they got a Bluetooth thing you just stick in your little cigarette lighter, and it does the same thing, but it works on Bluetooth. Do cars even have cigarette lighters anymore?
No, they only have they've been in it for years. They have like the plug-in. I guess. I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't.
Man, you guys are missing out. We can't do anything.
That thing would burn the crap out of you.
Oh, my God. Yo.
Talking about lighting
camping?
A Newport.
So one time we went camping, and we couldn't get the fire started with all the things you're trying to spark the fire. And I was like, just go pop the thing out of the car. And again, that thing is like a blowtorch. So he comes out holding it, drops on the ground, and next thing you know, we're spending 20 minutes trying to put out a fire in the woods. Like, because that thing is just, oh man, those things will light up. I miss the good old days.
I do miss smoking cigarettes. I do. I wish I could still smoke cigarettes. It was a great time when you could do that and not worry about anything. Kids can't smoke cigarettes anymore.
My grandfather quit smoking when he was like 17 and lived his whole life not smoking. But my grandmother wouldn't let me go to McDonald's. So sometimes, like when she would be taking a nap, we sneak out, and I would be eating McDonald's in the backseat of the car, and he would have a cigar in the front seat of the car, and then we have to like leave the doors open to let it air out so Grandma wouldn't catch us. And I had to throw out all my McDonald's trash before we went home.
People were talking about the cassette adapter that you plugged into, and then you had the CD player. I had that in my car as well at some point because I had a system. I didn't have a kicker box, but I had speakers that were worthy of a kicker box, bro.
In my shed right now, I have a 3,000 watt amp. I didn't put it in my new car, but I've always been bumping. I remember when I got my first CD changer, I thought that I was the president of the United States. I thought I was the coolest guy in the world.
In the trunk, right?
Yep. Hit a button, 10 disc CD changer. You can't tell me I wasn't the greatest man in America. Had a 10 disc. Was balling out of control.
All right. Well, and I'll leave you with this. Mind blown. My daughter was mind blown the other day. She asked me because they're like, my 9-year-old's like, well, when can I get a phone? And I'm like, you ain't getting a phone right now. You have an iPad. You don't need a cell phone right now, right? But like, well, Daddy, how old were you when you got a cell phone? And I'm like, I don't know, 24, something like that. 24, and I'm like, yeah.
Oh, wow.
There weren't cell phones. They're like, the look on their face, like, what do you mean? Like, yeah, there was no. You don't have a phone. There was no cell phone. There was no computer in your hand. There's no iPhone that you carried around everywhere with you. There was a landline.
So,
mind blowing.
Two things. I'm a girl dad too. Let me just tell you. So my daughter's had a phone since she was 6. Her first phone was an Android phone. So if you get your kids a phone, give them an Android crappy phone. And if they're not happy and thankful that they got something, then hey, look, that phone cost me $10. It cost me $10 a month, and I could call them, and they had a little phone. And then like when she took care of that phone, my daughter has had a phone since she was 6. She's 17 now. She's never broken or lost a phone. She has an iPhone 15 Plus Max, everything, because she doesn't break her phones. But she got trained on a crappy phone, and she treated that thing like gold. And she learned if you take care of it, you get something better. So go ahead, get the 9-year-old. Go ahead, get her little Android Scooby-Doo.
She got an iPad that's nicer than anything that I have. That's for sure. Both of them do. All right, BG, good stuff, man. We'll be tuned in tonight.
Yep.
So
7-ish.
7-ish. So tune in. Follow. What's your social media handles there, Black Ready?
PHLYcheapseats.com. You can find all of us on the internet. We are out there in these streets.
All right. Do you have to do www first? You know how you still hear people that do commercials? They'll be like,
just because we talk about tape decks. Come on, Pop. Come on, Pop. It's just PHLYcheapseats.com. Put the tape deck down. Okay, we're done. We're good. Have a great day, guys.
www.PHLYcheapseats.com. There you go.
Stop www. It's extra letters.
Well, the Eagles need to get that.
Wants the www.
The Eagles need to get the W.
That's right. They get the George WWW. It was Super Bowl champ.
John's ready to go to Google to find the website. He's going to go to Google and then put in www.google.com.
I use Ask Jeeves. I don't know what this Google thing is. I use Ask Jeeves if I have any.
I'm still calling a collect number. Hey, what time does the movie start?
Net Zero is the provider I use to get on the internet.
You have a collect call from Black Gritty.
No, you have a collect call from Mom. Pick me up. Mom, pick me up. Click.
Yep. Oh, last thing for real.
Sure.
I took my daughter and we stopped at a payphone. Because I was like, I saw one. I'm like, we're pulling over. She's like, what's this? I'm like, it's a phone. And she's like, why is there a phone in the middle of the street? And it was just like I made her take a picture with it and everything. She's like, I don't want to take a picture with this thing. I'm like, do it. It'll mean something to you in 20 years when you can't find one again.
Phone booth with a phone book in it. They used to
have seen that in a long time.
They used to have phone.
They had the chain on them. They used to have the metal bracket with the chain, so you couldn't steal it.
A chained phone book in a phone booth was what you saw everywhere. We are old, brother. We are old. I'm almost 50. All right, everybody, subscribe, like, comment. We're live every morning at 8 o'clock on YouTube, and you can always click the link and come back and watch it whenever you want. Our audio-only listeners, shout out to you. But, you do it in the car, do it. I listen to a lot of audio when I'm doing dishes and I'm around the house or whatever. Download the podcast, subscribe, leave a great 5-star rating, and you can listen to us audio only. So check us out. Appreciate you watching. We're back tomorrow live at 8 a.m. Check out Gritty tonight. Check out Anthony right now. Click over. See ya.
We all silly like the mayor.